Part 22. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 212. The entire northern immortal territory has now caused a big wave. There are too many people paying attention to the 11 immortal kings going down to the lower realm. After all, this kind of thing rarely happens in the fairyland. It had almost never happened before when troops were sent to conquer the first heaven realm hundreds of thousands of years ago. As a result, none of the 11 immortal kings returned from the lower realm. Various news spread among the immortal cities of those immortal kings. Some people say that those immortal kings are all dead. Some people say that those immortal kings have suffered from bad luck. Some people say that the lives of those immortal kings are alienated. Lan Mingxianjun and others are all strong. If the 11 of them join forces, they are invincible unless they meet the immortal king. How could this happen? It's already weird that a lower realm can attract more than a dozen immortal lords. Now it can actually cause trouble to 11 immortal lords. It seems really not simple. It's too scary. We have to send people to investigate, but we have to be careful and careful. All kinds of news seem to indicate that something really happened to the 11 immortal kings in the lower realm. This made all the forces in the northern border of the northern immortal territory feel confused and uncertain. Xianming Fairyland. A huge palace covering an area of tens of thousands of miles, as vast as a small universe. In the huge hall, a group of strong men with extremely powerful auras sat down one after another. There are dozens of people. All of them are immortals. The bronze chair at the top is engraved with a mysterious sundial pattern. No one dares to sit on it. The two old men on the far left and right below both look extremely old. The old man on the upper left has a golden sun embroidered on his robe. He is already bald and leaning forward, looking quite weird. The old man on the upper right is a moon. His hair is gray and withered, but it is very long. Xuanhuan Tianjun, urgently summoned us. What is the matter? An immortal king stood up and spoke. Yes, we are still in seclusion, but has something big happened in the sect? I'm afraid it won't be easy if the two heavenly lords Xuanguang and Xianan appear in person. Is it a provocation from other immortal king-level forces? The others also spoke one after another, surprised and confused. The bald Xuanguang Tianjun's face darkened and he said, I got the news today that something happened to Illuminati. Hearing this, everyone's expressions changed. Illumination is the bloodline of the immortal king. Who dares to take action against the immortal king's direct bloodline? Are you seeking death? Is this an attempt to trigger a war among the immortal kingdoms? They all spoke one after another, with cold expressions on their faces. Forget about the other immortal lords. Immortal Lord Guangming is the direct bloodline of immortal King Xianming. If anyone dares to attack him, it means declaring war on the immortal kingdom of Xianming. He went to the lower world. Xianan Tianjun, who had long withered hair and a moon embroidered on his robe, spoke hoarsely. Everyone was even more surprised. The lower realm. In the lower realm, the immortal lord can do whatever he wants. Even in the three heavens where immortals exist, they would never dare to attack the immortal Lord of Light. What happened in that realm? Send immortal soldiers directly to destroy that realm. Even if we destroy hundreds of thousands of people from the lower realm, we still have to let Guangguang return safely. Since the destruction of the first heaven, no one has dared to provoke the immortal realm like this. If we don't kill them, how will the immortal realm lose its face? A group of immortal kings are becoming more and more angry, and it is even more insulting to have trouble in the lower world. Two heavenly kings, give me the coordinates, and I will immediately lead the immortal soldiers and generals of Guangting Immortal City to kill the lower realm. An immortal lord spoke directly and unruly. If it's that simple, why bother summoning you to come out? However, Xianguang Tianjun spoke coldly and said, according to the information we received, there were 13 immortal lords in northern Xinjiang who went down to the realm together. As a result, something happened to all of them, including even the holy Qin Tianjun of Xuanhuan Fairy City. Hearing this, everyone was suddenly shocked. Something happened to 13 immortal lords, including heavenly lords. Could it be that a terrible disaster really happened? Normally, the fall of any immortal lord would attract the attention of the immortal realm, but now 13 immortal lords are in trouble. This kind of situation will only occur in the era of trouble or war. This is his soul lamp. Xian Tianjun waved his hand calmly, and a strange soul lamp appeared in the field. The flame of the lamp is a faint blue, flickering on and off, which is very strange. Alienation of life. Someone shouted. How can it be? The lower realm, where does this kind of forbidden land come from? Could it be that the forbidden beings in the three heavens took action? Everyone looked solemn. They are all immortal lords, so they are naturally aware of taboo matters such as alienation of life. That involves a great terror. It can only happen if the restricted area is touched. Two heavenly kings, has Guangzhou gone to the three heavens? An immortal lord spoke solemnly. But the two heavenly kings shook their heads. No, it's the latest integrated world. That world is called heaven, and its rank is second only to the three heavens. And it's not just the illumination, the other 12 immortals and soul lanterns are like this. Everyone was even more surprised. A newly formed big world called heaven, can actually cause trouble to all 12 immortal lords. Among them, there is also a heavenly king. It's terrible, I'm afraid what they encountered was at least a restricted area formed by an immortal king-level giant. Yes, the immortal catastrophe is about to come. The immortal kings who have fallen in the long river of time have hidden in the lower realm and turned into a restricted area. There is also a precedent. The fusion of the new world, is probably caused by the immortal king's restricted area. Everyone was talking a lot, and their expressions were very solemn at this moment. No one dared to talk about raising troops to attack. Want to question the immortal king level restricted area? Unless immortal King Xianming takes action in person. Two heavenly lords, I'm afraid this matter is beyond our ability. Would it be more appropriate to report it to the immortal king? An immortal king spoke. However, Xian Guangtianjun shook his head and said, the immortal king is in a very critical period, so we must not disturb him. People's questions. But, if the lower realm is really a forbidden area at the immortal king level, who can save Guangming? The hall fell into silence. The level involved is too high. I have an idea. At this time, Xian and Tianjun suddenly spoke and sneered. Since this new world is called heaven. Although I don't know whether this world is connected to the first heaven in the past, but if the three heavens know about it, they will definitely not be able to sit still. Hearing this, the expressions of many immortal kings in the field changed. Yes, a wonderful plan, a wonderful plan. In this way, the three heavens can become our pawns. Someone clapped and applauded. In the past, the first immortal king of the celestial realm attained the Dao of Hongmeng. Thanks to the three heavenly realms taking action when he attained Dao, his Dao fruit was incomplete, which laid the foundation for the immortal kings of the immortal realm to hunt down the first immortal king of the celestial realm. If they knew that the first heaven realm was actually on the verge of resurgence, I'm afraid they would be very anxious. Haha, let the dog bite the dog. Let's see if it is a restricted area for the immortal king and what is so scary about it. Many immortals in the field all agreed. Guangjian, you go to the third heaven realm immediately and send a message to Xuanzhen in the third heaven realm. Haha, he was the vanguard of the attack on the first heaven realm in the past. Xian and Tianjun smiled coldly. Among the crowd, a middle-aged man stood up immediately and said, just follow your orders. At the same time, the lower realm, in the endless void sea. The interweaving of black and white, the gathering of immortals and demons. This place is far away from the area under the jurisdiction of the immortal realm, and is on the edge of the lower realm of the immortal realm and the demonic realm. It was a world where black and white intertwined and eventually turned into gray. The gray fog is shrouded, the Tao rime is chaotic, and the Tao principles of the entire world are distorted. The world seems to be full of chaos and distortion. Suddenly, a certain cloud of gray mist in this world started to vibrate. A shrill scream sounded from it. The gray mist began to surge as if it was struck by something. It seemed like something had come out through the world blocked by the gray fog and revealed a corner of it in the gray fog. That's a coffin with a corner. Gray coffin. I don't know how many years the coffin has been there. It is simple and vicissitudes of life, but it has not rotted. It exudes a terrifying and taboo atmosphere. When the corner of the coffin appeared outside the gray fog, suddenly, there was a huge earthquake in the void sea. The terrifying chi machine set off a huge wave in the sky, like a storm coming. The sea of void cracked open inch by inch, and countless lower realms of the adjacent immortal and demon realms exploded into dust. The power of a dime coffin is so terrifying. The coffin seemed to be pushed by something and moved out little by little. Soon after, all the coffins came out of the gray fog. Behind the coffin is a black pig as big as an elephant. The black pig is standing and pushing the coffin with its two huge trotters. And on the huge pig's nose, a young man lay weakly, his wrists were cut open, and blood continued to flow into the pig's mouth. This young man is surprisingly Xuanhuan. Previously, he was reborn in the dining realm chess immortal sect with the black psychic pig. He was originally planning to embark on the path of supremeness and become the protagonist of this life. But he didn't expect that he would actually kick the iron plate in the heaven. Instead of getting the unbounded chessboard, he almost died. Fortunately, the psychic pig carried him back here. He and the psychic pig broke into this world again and spent 3 months finally pushing the coffin out. It finally came out. Xuanhuan bandaged his wound with difficulty and said, "This is just the most fringe of the 9-generation gray coffins. Can it really kill the mysterious existence in the heavens?" He has lingering fears about the existence in heaven. However, the huge elephant-like black pig showed a strange smile in its eyes, and said, "Don't worry, even if it is the most marginal one, it is still the corpse of the black and white immortal king. If the coffin is opened, the sky and the earth will tremble." Xuanhuan also nodded with difficulty, with a hint of hatred in his eyes. "I want to kill that existence in heaven, and I want to destroy those two losers Zhongli and Wu Dade. He hates it. Obviously in this life, I am a reborn person, so I should be the protagonist." Unexpectedly, in the end, Zhongli used his power to bully others. He is angry. "By the way, how do you transport this coffin?" Xuanhuan asked the black pig under him. The black pig suddenly returned to the state of being on all fours. It got under the coffin in one step, and the gray coffin was carried on its back. "Let's go." A ridiculous and extremely weird scene appeared in the void. A huge black pig, carrying a terrifying gray coffin, traveled thousands of miles across the void, causing huge earthquakes wherever it passed. The black pig carries the coffin. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 213. In the Endless Void Sea. Countless lower realms are like stars sinking and floating in the ocean. And among the countless stars as light as dust, there are 3 worlds, as big as 3 full moons. Countless stars surround these 3 full moons. These 3 full moons represent the 3 most powerful realms among millions of lower realms. The 3 heavens. The 3 heavens are extremely special. Among the vast lower realms, they are the only places where immortal level experts can be born. Now, in the void sea outside a certain heaven, a figure appeared. Astonishingly, it is the immortal lord of the Xianming immortal kingdom Guangjian. He was ordered to come and stay outside this boundary for a while. The third heaven has finally arrived. He murmured something and immediately stepped into it. Go through the boundary wall. The world you see is incredibly vast. The mountains are undulating, the land is vast, and the fairy spirit in this world is extremely rich. It's not much different from the fairy land. It is said that the original four heavens were created by absorbing the power of millions of lower realms. The immortal king even once said that the four heavens contain great secrets, involving some very high-level beings. He muttered. In the past, Xuanhuan immortal king also participated in the battle against the first heaven realm and was one of the participants in killing the immortal king of the first heaven realm. So, he knows some secrets. After the first heaven was destroyed, the immortal kings once had the idea to destroy the other three heavens together. However, in the end, I didn't know what existence was involved, and it was actually stopped. Is it a restricted area in this world? Xuanhuan murmured, but he didn't think much about it. In any case, the more powerful and mysterious this world is, the more capable it is of destroying the newly born heaven. He took one step forward, and the distance between the entire world quickly shortened under his feet. Not long after, he appeared on a piece of land. On this land, there is a huge fairy city. Sichuan shakes the fairy city. In the Xuanhuan immortal city, there is a vast river that crosses the entire immortal city. The turbid water flowed out of the big river, like a giant python winding on the earth. Dark holy river. Looking at the big river, Xuanhuan murmured. It is said that Xuanhuan seems to have come out of this dark holy river. Therefore, he built the fairy city here, perhaps to protect something. He immediately arrived in front of Xuanhuan city. Northern Immortal Territory Xuanhuan Immortal Kingdom, Xuanhuan Immortal Lord, come to visit. A message. Suddenly, the city of Xuanhuan was filled with rainbow light. The fairy city is open. Xuanhuan entered directly. After walking into Xuanhuan city, he saw that there was a suspended palace on the huge dark holy river. Xuanhuan Palace. Xuanhuan just glanced at it with a look in his eyes. It was indeed not simple. The immortal Lord has sent me here to invite you to enter the palace for a brief talk. At this time, two old immortals will appear and speak respectfully. Xuan saw that the immortal Lord was unhappy. After all, he was the immortal Lord, at the same level as the other party, and behind him was the Xuanhuan immortal kingdom. The other party was so disrespectful. But he didn't say anything more, but followed and walked into the fairy palace. Following the two old immortal generals, they entered the main hall. Xuan was shocked when he saw Xuanhuan. The Tao here seems to be different from that in the immortal realm. Why does it feel like it is more complete than the immortal realm? He frowned. This is very strange. It's been hundreds of thousands of years since we parted ways with immortal King Xuanming. Why, when something happened, did King Xuanming send you here? At this time, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded in the hall. A figure has appeared on the upper seat. It was a middle-aged man with an indifferent expression and cold eyes. When Xuan saw Xuanhuan, he was immediately shocked. Facing this middle-aged man, he actually felt oppressed. The other party is Tianjun. Not immortal Lord Xuanzhen, but Lord Xuanzhen Tian. He was shocked, no wonder he dared to be so rude to himself. This matter has nothing to do with the immortal king. It is decided by the two heavenly lords in the immortal kingdom. Light sees the way of the immortal lord. He. Lord Xuanzhen Tian just sneered and said. Are those two old guys not dead yet? Do you really want to hold on until the holy surrender and fall to immortality? When I saw the immortal Lord, I felt even more shocked. Holy descending, in the immortal realm, is widely known by another name, immortal catastrophe. Immortal Lord Xuanhuan once heard that some people in the world refer to the immortal catastrophe as sacred descent, and such people usually have extraordinary backgrounds and have a great background behind them, so they should not be offended. He became more solemn and said immediately, "May you both be blessed with long life and good health. This time, they want me to bring a message to Tianjun." Xuanhuan said calmly. "Xianming Immortal Kingdom should know that I have no interest in the so-called opportunities in the immortal realm. What if this matter concerns the first heaven?" Guangjian Xianjun looked at Xuanhuan. Xuanzhen's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light and said, "First heaven. The first heaven has long been turned into powder." Although he said this, he still stared at Guangjian Xianjun. Guangjian Xianjun understood clearly that it seemed that the two heavenly lords had calculated correctly. The other party was really concerned about the first heaven realm. He immediately said, "Why should Tianjun deceive himself? Although the first heaven realm was shattered, many small realms were formed in the void sea. Can it be regarded as complete destruction?" Xuanzhenjun said coldly. "How can these small realms, which are as light as dust and sand, be able to create waves?" Guangjian Xianjun smiled and said, "But Tianjun, don't forget that those lower realms also have the possibility of reintegration, and now, in the void sea, a big world second only to the three heavens has appeared. The name of this big world is heaven." Guangjian looked at the expression on Xuanzhen's face and said leisurely, "According to our information, the reason why this new big world is called Heaven Realm is because its center was originally named Xiantian Realm. Lord Xuanzhen, do you think this has some connection with the original first heaven?" At this moment, Xuanzhen's face was so gloomy. The atmosphere in the entire hall instantly turned cold. Even Guangjian Xianjun noticed a terrible murderous intention spreading. This kind of murderous intention made him feel frightened. If he hadn't known it, the other party would never take action against him, and he would probably turn around and run away. "How did you get this information?" Lord Xuanzhen stared intently at Lord Guangjian Xian. Guangjian Xianjun said calmly, "After this new big world appeared, an immortal king in my fairy kingdom once explored the lower world, however, he did not survive in the end." The two heavenly lords Xianan and Xianguang expected that Xuanzhen would definitely ask questions, so they didn't see him hiding. Even if Sichuan knows the news, Sichuan will take it more seriously. Sure enough, Xuanzhen's eyes froze when he heard this, and he said in a cold voice, "So, in that world, at least immortal cultivators have been born." There was a kind of anger mixed in his words, and he said, "The centipede insect is indeed dead but not stiff." Guangjian Xianjun smiled slightly and said, "The best way to die without being frozen is to kill again." Xuanzhen glanced at him and said, "Go away. Although I know your Xianming Immortal Kingdom's intention to kill people with a knife, I don't care." When Guang saw the Immortal Lord, he immediately said, "Xianming Fairy Kingdom, I wish Tianjun a victory." He handed it over, then turned around and left. The task was successfully completed. It is conceivable that Sichuan will soon spread the news throughout the third heaven. After all, the immortal forces in the third heaven were all involved in the siege of the first heaven in the past. No one can stay out of it. It was long after Guangjian Xianjun left. The atmosphere in Sichuan Zhenxian Palace was already so cold. The first heaven realm is resurrected. It is indeed the nail left by the Holy Dao family. It is indeed difficult to remove. Lord Xuanzhen murmured in a low voice and said, "The Holy Advent is coming, the Holy Way will reappear in the world, and countless Holy Way families and sects will return from hidden places. The first reunion in heaven is probably to point out the direction of the G family's return." What he said was a terrifying secret. No, the sect and the G family are great enemies, and we will never allow the G family to return smoothly. He thought of killing together. In an instant, everything in the Immortal Palace was shaking. Below the Immortal Palace, the rolling river exploded with a loud bang, and the waves crashed on the shore. Tianjun, what happened? At this time, an old immortal general hurriedly walked into the palace and asked questions. Xuanhuan said calmly. Send a message to all the immortal cities in the third heaven realm that the first heaven realm is resurrected, and ask all the immortal lords to go to Sichuan immortal city immediately to discuss the matter. Hearing this, the old immortal general was suddenly startled in his eyes, and immediately hurriedly raised his hands and said, "Yes." Word gets out quickly. In an instant, the entire third heaven was boiling. In countless immortal cities, there were angry shouts. Immortal figures who had been silent for thousands of years walked out of the retreat and quickly gathered towards Sichuan Zhenxian city. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 214. Shortly after. Sichuan Zhenxian city. Within the huge palace. 6 figures sit facing each other. They are all heavenly lord-level figures. Xuanhuan, is your news accurate? An old man asked coldly. Half of his body was as decayed as a withered old tree, and he said, the first heaven was obviously completely destroyed back then. Yes, we saw with our own eyes that the immortal king of the first heaven realm was killed. Even the inheritance left by the Ji family was destroyed. The other heavenly kings also spoke. But Lord Xuanhuan glanced at the half-withered old man and said, Kudao Tianjun, you are worrying too much. This news comes from the immortal King Xianming of the immortal realm. Not long ago, in the Void Sea, a new big world was formed by fusion. A descendant of the Xianming immortal king went to investigate, but unexpectedly happened. He spoke. So what? The Xianming immortal king is just an incomplete king. When the holy descendant begins, he will probably not be able to maintain his immortality. What's so great about his heirs? There are many people who can kill his heirs. Everyone spoke. Xuanhuan glanced at everyone and said word by word. That new big world is called heaven. It's called heaven. In an instant, everyone was shocked. Moreover, don't forget that a few months ago, the sword intention of the Wuji Sword King shook the immortal realm, and the first celestial immortal general Zhan Li appeared. His will became immortal, and he went to the immortal realm to fight against the holy golden immortal lord. Such a thing. This is enough to show that the first heaven is probably dead but not frozen. After all, in that immortal Taoist palace, there is the imprint left by the Ji family. Even the immortal king cannot destroy it. If that Taoist palace is immortal, the first heaven will not be really finished. Xuanhuan spoke one by one. Everyone was silent. Thinking about what happened one after another, it really makes people speculate. In this case, no matter what, we should destroy this big world before we talk. When I left at this time, a middle-aged Tianjun with the ulcerated face next to him spoke, his eyes full of vicious murderous intent, and said, we can't let go of any possibility. The holy descendants is about to begin, and the Lord we serve is about to return, and the Ji family is the enemy he has designated. Only by destroying everything in the first heaven can the Ji family be lost in a very secret place and unable to return. The rest of the people also nodded one after another. The 6 of them are all the heavenly sovereign level figures in the first heaven realm. It can be said that the first heaven is decided by the 6 of them. And the 6 of them are able to get to where they are today, almost all because of the gift of their master. As a price, they have been guarding the third heaven. Because here is a coordinate, a guide for the return of their master. Likewise, the first heaven realm belongs to a holy family that has also entered an extremely secret place, the Ji family. Xuanhuan immediately looked at Tianjun with the ulcer on his face and said, Wen Tianjun, how about you lead the people there? I believe it should be enough for you to go. Wen Tianjun stood up immediately and said, yes. Same day. The third heaven. There are a total of 5 fairy cities, and armies appear one after another. Those armies are flying across the sky. Kill. Destroy all the remnants of the first heaven realm. Wen Tianjun led the 5 immortal kings and 300,000 immortal soldiers and generals to begin the journey. Each of the 6 void battleships exuding a terrifying and immortal aura complemented the 50,000-strong army. When they entered the Sea of Void, there were countless void battleships waiting for them. There are millions at a glance. These void battleships come from many affiliated worlds of the third heaven. Knowing that the third heaven is about to conquer, every Earth-level world has sent teams to follow. Including Dining Realm, Diju Realm, Dihong Realm, etc. Set off. An army of millions crossed the border. In the Void Sea, many worlds along the way were shocked when they observed this scene. Oh my god, that's an immortal-class battleship from the heavens, it's so terrifying. Has the war in the heavens begun? Are there targets the other 2 heavens? Only the heavens can use the immortal-class battleships, right? The war in the heavens has begun. Millions of lower realms will tremble. It's over. Will the disaster that destroyed the first heaven hundreds of thousands of years ago happen again? Huge earthquake in the Void Sea. This team is very fast, crossing the void, getting closer and closer to the heaven. Sure enough, when such a big world appeared, we didn't sense it immediately. In front of a million-strong army, on a huge immortal-class battleship, Wen Tianjun stared at the fist-sized world in the distant sea, and cold words rang out. Now that the distance is still very far, it can already be seen that this world is absolutely huge, more than 100 times the size of the ordinary Earth-level world, and indeed second only to the 3 heavens. Wen Tianjun said coldly. The immortal king must have taken action to block the chi mechanism of the fusion of all realms, thus blocking our perception. It seems that besides King Wuji, there are others in the immortal realm who are loyal to the Ji family. Speed up, I can't wait to destroy this world. An army of millions is getting closer and closer to heaven. And at this moment, skyline. Outside the heaven, the cultivators responsible for detecting the movements of the Void Sea were shocked when they saw what happened in the Void Sea. In the Void Sea, it seems that a huge black python is sweeping over, and the huge python has 6 snake heads. That's an endless battleship. The scout was shocked. Quick, report to the leader, the enemy is coming, coming. At the same time, heaven. Huangtianzhou. There are stone houses scattered among the mountains. It's like an idle village. In every house, young people are reading various classics. Ancestor, I found it. At this time, a young man was suddenly in the bookshelf, holding a few pages of old paper stained with dust. He exclaimed. In an instant, everyone gathered around. Really? Found a way to activate the original stone order. Has something that hasn't been found for generations, finally been unearthed. Great, call the ancestor. Everyone spoke one after another. A young man even rushed out to find Ji Yuanqing. Not long after, Ji Yuanqing hurriedly walked in. He was in ragged clothes, but he was very excited at the moment. He pushed aside the crowd and said, "Where is that thing?" Hearing this, the young man handed over a few pieces of old paper in his hands. Ji Yuanqing took a deep breath, picked it up gently, and blew all the dust off the paper. On the paper, there are some words that are so faint that they are about to disappear. These words were twisted and strange, and seemed to contain some kind of moral principles. The young people around them couldn't understand them. Ancestor, is this what you are looking for? Why can't we understand it? Yes, the words on this are too old. The young people spoke one after another. However, Ji Yuanqing's eyes were full of excitement. It's this. It's this. It's this. He said 3 times in succession, and at this moment, there were tears in his eyes. Since the destruction of the first heaven, our family's inheritance has been cut off, leaving only a few scraps of records. Not even the originator stone order can be opened. Before the death of the last ancestor, his last words said that there was an ancient ancestor who left a handbook. The handbook recorded a method that can open the Yuanzi stone token. By opening the Yuanzi stone token, you can learn all the truth buried in the years. Hundreds of generations of ancestors of the Ji family have been searching hard, but found nothing. After rummaging through the pile of old papers, I finally found the note left by that ancient ancestor. Ji Yuanqing was so excited that he could not speak coherently. He held the old papers in both hands and walked out of the stone house. He pushed the sky on his back and burst into tears. He thought of his father. His father passed away when he was still young. Before he died, he held his hand and told him to pass on the original stone order to him with reluctance. Yuanqing, the Ji clan has a mission that cannot be forgotten. You must open the Yuanzi stone token to learn everything, you must open it. Now, he finally found it. Father, ancestors of all generations, you can rest in peace. Ji Yuanqing wiped away his tears and ran into the secret room. In the secret room, he carefully read the contents of these pages of the notebook. Only the patriarch of each generation can gain the ability to decipher ancient texts. This is one of the top secrets of the Ji family. After reading it, Ji Yuanqing was even more excited. With trembling hands, he suddenly used all his strength and cut his left wrist open. Blood flowed out, and a grey stone order rolled out immediately. This stone order was kept in his arm. Use the blood of the Ji clan to write the talisman for calling the ancestors, only then can Xiling be awakened. He murmured, immediately closed his eyes and meditated, followed the method on the note, used his spiritual power, and drew a strange blood talisman. The blood talisman glows. At this moment, Xiling trembled slightly. A faint yellow light suddenly shot into Ji Yuanqing's forehead. At this moment, Ji Yuanqing was suddenly shocked. His mind was filled with countless information. He saw a doomsday catastrophe. The immortals were slaughtered like pigs and dogs, the lamentations of the immortal king were heard everywhere, the fairy kingdoms were destroyed one after another, and the existences beyond the immortal king were all bleeding. Someone is fleeing, and the terrifying ancestral ship that exudes an aura that transcends the immortal realm is carrying wailing creatures out of this world and fleeing to a hidden place. Many people died while fleeing, and the sky was dyed red with blood. On a certain ancestral ship, a group of people waved goodbye to the tribesmen who chose to stay. Before leaving, reluctant to leave, they used their great magic to leave a grain of sand in the endless void realm. Live, keep. We will eventually find this grain of sand and return. Distant voices sounded vaguely from time and space millions of years ago. After millions of years, time finally calmed down in chaos and blood. The remaining tribesmen carried the grain of sand and appeared in the void sea. The grain of sand turned into a vast world. The first heaven. At this moment, Ji Yuanqing looked shocked, and his old eyes were filled with incredible looks. His old body was trembling. The first heaven was left behind by the people who fled this world. It's a signpost for their return. He murmured. At this moment, he glimpsed the eternal secret. I finally understand why the immortal catastrophe is also called the Holy Descendants in ancient books. He murmured, word by word. The people who fled are the existences who stand in the holy way, they will return, so they are called the Holy Surrender. What kind of disaster is it that makes them need to escape? At this moment, he deeply felt his powerlessness. Now, he is just a golden immortal. Even at this moment, the mission of the tribe is clear. But what can he do? Wrong. At this time, his expression suddenly changed and he said, "The heaven realm is being reorganized. Is the Lord of the heaven realm, related to our clan? Does he rule the heaven realm to show the way for our clan? He was shocked, immediately put away the stone order, and walked out of the secret room. Open the teleportation array immediately, I want to go to Xuanhuan state. And at this moment, the news that a powerful enemy is invading the Void Sea has spread throughout the heavens and states. It caused a huge earthquake. Xuanhuan state, Southern Territory. In the Xuanhuan alliance, Huo Ling'er and others were shocked when they received the news. They instantly summoned all the alliance's generals. 2 alliance leaders. According to observations, there are millions of coalition troops approaching the heaven this time. Holy Lord Yuanyang looked very solemn and said, "We have to send people to investigate immediately and ask for the purpose of coming." Huo Ling'er looked solemn and said, "Accurate." The heavenly void battleship was quickly dispatched. But then the news came immediately. The warships we sent were blown to pieces before they even got close. Among the enemy's coalition forces, the leader, seems to be 6 immortal-class warships. This news made everyone in the hall look shocked. Immortal-class battleship. Is it, the coalition of the 3 heavens? Zhuge Shenlu murmured. It must be. It is impossible for a lower realm with millions of people to appear in the fairyland, and in the lower realm, only the 3 major heavens have such strength. Hey, the name of the heaven has finally attracted the wrath of the 3 heavens. The 6 immortal-class battleships, this means that there are at least 6 immortal kings who are personally leading the army. There is no way to resist. Everyone looked heavy. Today's Xuanhuan alliance is growing very rapidly. In particular, the aura of the immortal spirit continues to become stronger, the Taoist rhyme becomes more and more dense, and more than a dozen immortal generals have appeared in the Tianzhong Hall. Huo Ling'er and Mu Jianing have even reached the 8th level of the Great Luo Golden Immortal, and they are considered extremely powerful among the immortal generals. But, such strength cannot be compared with the real 3 heavens. Any immortal can overwhelm the Xuanhuan alliance, let alone 6 immortals. Report. At this time, a Tai Golden Immortal came quickly and said, "Huang Tianzhou Ji Yuanqing asks to see the 2 alliance leaders." Hearing this, everyone was confused. What is Ji Yuanqing doing at this time? Huo Ling'er and Mu Jianing looked at each other. Ji Yuanqing was not that simple. The opening of the Huang Tianzhou Immortal Taoist Palace inheritance in the past was related to Ji Yuanqing. This person seemed to have a deep background. Send him in. Huo Ling'er spoke immediately. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 215. Ji Yuanqing walked into the hall. He was dressed in tatters and had not changed at all. He looked anxious at this moment and said, "2 alliance leaders, I heard on the road that a powerful enemy is coming, but are they from the 3 heavens?" Hearing this, Huo Ling'er didn't hide anything and said, "Yes, a 1,000,000-strong army, led by 6 immortal-class battleships." Ji Yuanqing's eyes were shocked, his expression changed, and he said, "This matter is of great importance. Please inform the 2 alliance leaders to the Lord of Heaven immediately." There was a flash of doubt in Huo Ling'er's eyes. Ji Yuanqing seemed to be too concerned. She said calmly, "I will report it myself." Ji Yuanqing said nervously, "Alliance leader, if you can you take me to meet the Lord of Heaven? I have a big secret that I must report to the Lord of Heaven in person." His eyes are full of hope. He figured out the origin of the first heaven, and even more understood the mission of his clan. But with them, the task is now simply impossible. In fact, the first heaven is in danger. Now he can only hope that the Lord of Heaven has an old relationship with the first heaven. In this way, we can use the power of the Lord of Heaven to protect this world and point out the way back for the people who have fled to the hidden place. Hearing this, Huo Ling'er frowned, looked at Mu Jianing and said, "Jianing, what do you think?" Mu Jianing also thought about it and said, "This old man's identity seems to be very complicated. Many people in our Tianzhong Hall have benefited from their immortal Dao Palace in Huangtianzhou. I think it's okay. Maybe he can provide valuable information to Senior Li, maybe." Huo Linger also nodded and said immediately, "Okay, you can come with us." Hearing this, Ji Yuanqing was extremely excited instantly. Soon, Huo Linger and others had already appeared outside the small mountain village. This place. As soon as he landed, Ji Yuanqing's expression changed. This place is very simple. If it were before, even if he saw this small mountain village, he would at most think it was the residence of some big shot, but now, he can sense the charm of this place and the holy way that he had glimpsed in those eternal time and space fragments. Very similar. He felt more confident. "Let's go." Huo Linger and Mu Jianing immediately took him inside. And at this moment, in the small courtyard, a group of disciples are all doing their own thing. Ever since Li Fan took them out for a barbecue and picnic and came back, their cultivation levels have been improving rapidly. Long Xuanhuan almost caught fish several times. Qing Chen was still sweeping the floor, but now he looked more and more like a fairy. The big black spider had just spit out its web, and his broom could follow it almost instantly, seamlessly. Lu Rang made that guy even more amazing. He actually kept some meat Ganoderma, brought it back, chopped it into powder, mixed it with his own blood, and then used it as fertilizer to apply to his grass. This made the pot of grass look even more terrifying, with bloody stems appearing on almost every leaf. And on the edge of the leaves, there is a layer of light white transparent leaf substance, like a sword blade. The aura emanating from time to time frightened Nanfeng and Ziling, who had already broken into the immortal realm. "It's too scary." That pot of grass was originally raised from the ashes of the first immortal king of heaven, and now it has gained the spiritual essence of Hongmeng. Gongya looked complicated. "You don't really want to raise an immortal king, do you?" After she returned to the small mountain village, she completed her great path and consolidated her cultivation. Now she can be called a demon king, but she was frightened by the pot of grass. Even Zinning murmured, "A piece of grass can kill an immortal, I can't imagine how much a piece of grass can grow." Little celestial master Lin Jujhan, whose cultivation has been advancing by leaps and bounds, has been so mesmerized recently that he has entered the early stage of Deluo Golden Immortal. Zhang Li plays chess with him every day, and Li Fan occasionally prompts him, and he also enters the realm of Deluo Golden Immortal. Woof. On the other side, Wu Date is fighting with the little black dog again, but recently everyone has discovered that Wu Date's body has become stronger and stronger, and even Deluo Jingxian may not be able to hurt him. This shocked Lu Rang and said, "Damn, being bitten by a dog can still have such benefits." He was so eager to try that he even wanted to fight with the dog. But after thinking about it, he gave up. That black dog bites people, it's so naughty. Moreover, maybe because of eating too well recently, the little black dog is also growing in size and has become a semi-large dog. Duguyuking is concentrating on practicing calligraphy. He has mastered the basic strokes such as dot, vertical, left and right strokes, and has made great progress. Today, you can write your first multi-stroke character. Li Fan walked over with a smile. Hearing this, Duguyuking's eyes suddenly became excited. The first multi-stroke character? He has been waiting for this day for too long. The first word that combines all the basic strokes you have practiced. Forever. Li Fan raised his pen and every stroke was written in block letters. Founder and powerful, powerful and unstoppable. A little bit is like embellishment of heaven. One horizontal line is like the sky across the sky. A vertical stroke is like a sword opening the sky. The word forever appears. All the disciples turned their heads in unison. At this moment, they all felt some kind of change in the avenue. It's as if a certain avenue is directly fixed by the word master and cannot be changed. Can one stroke nail the road? What kind of swordsmanship is this? It feels like traveling through time and space. Everyone was shocked. And Duguyuking was even more fascinated by it. 1 point, 1 horizontal stroke, 1 vertical stroke, 1 stroke, 1 stroke. It turns out that everything I practiced on weekdays, combined, turned out to be such a terrifying swordsmanship. He murmured, his eyes wild. He has found a way to break through. Even, it only takes 1 step to get into it. However, he took a deep breath and suppressed this impulse. He understood since the last time he witnessed Nanfeng sublimate under the oppression of a heavenly king and an immortal, and attain immortality. Enlightenment through battle can make oneself stronger. That kind of opportunity is the best. He wants to wait. Thank you, Master. Yuking has benefited a lot. He bowed to Li Fan. No need to say thank you. Li Fan smiled, returned to the chair, picked up the tea, took a sip, and then sighed. He is still worried. Sad about butterflies. I owed the girl named Yungzi a bunch of butterflies, so I gave him 2. A month later, if she came to the door and couldn't get it out, then I am afraid that my identity as a time traveler will be exposed. The cliff is so steep. And he checked the various butterflies in the system, and they all need to complete corresponding tasks before they can be obtained. For example, the first kind of butterfly is as beautiful as the 2 that Li Fan gave to Yungzi before. The color is golden yellow and very beautiful, but the task is maze cracking, how to get the boat from the starting point to the end point safely. Please draw the path according to the rules. The system gave a picture with many star-like objects blocking it, as well as time, space, and other rule restrictions. Li Fan took the question map given by the system and thought about it. What's wrong with Senior Li? At this time, Mu Jianning's voice came from outside. Come in. Li Fan spoke. Immediately, Huo Linger and Mu Jianning walked in. Senior Li, we are reporting that people from other heavens are here, and I'm afraid they want to harm us. Huo Linger reported directly. Are we going to fight again? Li Fan was used to it and asked directly, how strong is the other party? Mu Jianning said, Senior Li, there are about 6 people who are very powerful, not as good as last time. Last time, 11 immortal lords came. In the end, there was no sound, but Huo Linger, Mu Jianning, and others all understood that they must have been solved by Senior Li's apprentices. When Li Fan heard this, he relaxed. Last time, he was worried that his disciples would be injured, but they all came back as if nothing was wrong. This time he wasn't worried at all. Who wants to go? Li Fan asked directly. Master, I'm going. Duguyuking was the first to sign up as if he had been given a shot of blood. He now urgently needs this kind of battle to help him break through to the realm of immortality. Master, I want to go too. Long Xuanhuan and Xing Chen also signed up. How can such a thing happen without me? Lu Rang grinned. Zhang Li, Wu Dade, and Lin Zhuchen couldn't help it. Last time they were not strong enough, so they didn't go. This time they couldn't miss the opportunity again, so they signed up. Finally, all the male disciples said they wanted to go. Are they all a bunch of fighting maniacs? Li Fan was a little worried. If this evolution continued, wouldn't his group of disciples turn into a black society? Then, don't you want to become a black brother? Go. Li Fan didn't stop them, he just let them go out to exercise. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at Nanfan, Xiling, Gongya and others with relief. This time, these female disciples finally stopped messing around. Seeing this, Huo Linger and Mu Jianning were instantly relieved. The last time the 11 immortal kings took action, they were all solved, so this one must be stable as well. That's right, Senior Li. At this time, Huolinger continued to speak and said, "There is an old man from Huangtianzhou outside, named Ji Yuanqing. He wants to see you and says he has something to report to you." Li Fan was confused when he heard this. "Old man? Want to see yourself? Are you also a lover of calligraphy and painting? Okay, let him in." Li Fan spoke. Mu Jianing immediately turned around and walked out of the small courtyard. Outside the small courtyard, Ji Yuanqing was looking blankly at the small courtyard in front of him. Unparalleled leisure court. He felt the terrifying Taoist rhyme and principles emanating from it, and was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Here. Terrible. If he was just a little golden immortal, that would be it. However, through that stone order, he had learned many secrets that even the immortal king-level figures might not understand. And here, this kind of energy. It is countless times more powerful than the holy way shown in the time and space fragments countless years ago. Senior Ji. At this time, Mu Jianing had already come out and said, "Senior Li has agreed to see you." Hearing this, Ji Yuanqing took a deep breath and immediately stepped forward and walked into the small courtyard. The moment he stepped into the small courtyard, Ji Yuanqing's whole body was shocked. The impact on him in this small courtyard. Terrible. The moment he entered, an old hen among the chickens suddenly raised her eyes and glanced at him. The peach tree branches drooped slightly. The tail of a goldfish sways gently in the pond. At this moment, Ji Yuanqing felt like he was being looked at thoroughly by a supreme being. The stone order in his arms felt even more heated. Is there a terrifying existence visiting Yuan Zishiling? Ji Yuanqing was shocked, her body froze and she didn't dare to move. He knew that this stone order was left by a being who stood in the holy way. Even the immortal king might not have the ability to detect it. In this small courtyard. But there seems to be a lot hidden. Such an existence is unimaginable. He directly felt his heart trembling. At this moment, Li Fan also looked at Ji Yuanqing and said, "Old man, why are you here to see me?" There was some confusion in his eyes. Isn't the other party's clothes too shabby? A total beggar. Are you here to beg? When Ji Yuanqing heard this, he immediately looked at Li Fan. Shock flashed across his old eyes. How could he be a young man? Before he came here, he had imagined the Lord of the Heaven countless times in his mind. He originally thought that this would be an old man with an immortal spirit, or an immortal king who could walk like a dragon or a tiger. However, I never thought that I would see such a young and easygoing young man. Is this, the Lord of Heaven? Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 216. Ji Yuanqing looked at Li Fan in surprise, with an incredible look in his eyes. No, the Lord of Heaven will definitely not be so young. How can such a being be a young man? I understand, standing in the holy way can ignore the power of time. Therefore, this senior looks young, but in fact, I am afraid that he is an old fossil that has lived for millions of years. He was thinking, and at the same time, he saw the maze map in Li Fan's hand. His pupils suddenly shrank. What was that? A void sea filled with strange waves and clouds. The passage hidden in the secret. The boat in the picture was clearly the same as the Holy Path battleship he had seen in the passage of time. Sky. He was shocked. At this moment, he completely understood. This senior is studying the path from the hidden place to this void sea. This is terrible. You must know that millions of years ago, those forces of the Holy Way did not know what kind of catastrophe they encountered, and they could only flee crazily and head for hidden places. But after escaping to a secret place, it is extremely difficult to come back. Therefore, there are many forces that have left traces in the original world. For example, the ancestors of their Ji family left a grain of sand and evolved into a world. As long as this world remains immortal, The ancestors can always find their way back. And the senior in front of me actually presented the terrifying turbulence of the void, the chaotic sea of time and space, and many terrifying laws of heaven and earth on a piece of paper for study. This must be an ancient existence, and he knows the existence of the hidden place. Is he looking for a path to show the way to the forces in the hidden place? He murmured. At this moment, he couldn't bear it any longer. He stepped forward directly to salute and said, "I've met Senior." On the way here, Huo Linger and Mu Jianing had already told him that Li Fan lived in seclusion here and was obsessed with the world of mortals, so he was not interested in matters in the world of cultivation. Therefore, he did not dare to claim to be Lord of Heaven for fear of offending Li Fan. When Li Fan heard this, he couldn't help but be startled. Damn, such an old man still calls himself senior? You look very young? This is too much. However, he was immediately convinced. This old man is probably an art lover or something. After all, in this regard, there is a saying that the master is respected. No need to be polite, old man, why are you here looking for me? Li Fan asked. Ji Yuanqing looked excited and said. One of them wants to ask the seniors to help Miss Huo Linger and others. We can't let other people get involved in the heaven. After he understood the survival of the first heaven, he also understood that if the current heaven was destroyed again, then the ancestors might really get lost on the way back. Li Fan smiled and said, I have sent my disciples to help. Is there anything else? Ji Yuanqing hesitated for a moment, but finally gritted his teeth. Senior, I have an ancestral stone order that I want to contribute to you. After he finished speaking, he took out the Fang Shi Ling directly. Seeing this, Li Fan was instantly surprised. What is this? He took the stone order and scanned it. It looked gray, but the quality was good, and it should have been carved from the finest stone. The pattern was also quite peculiar, and there seemed to be a vague image of a long river hidden in the pattern. Could it be that this is some kind of antique? Li Fan understood instantly. This old man looks like he is wearing rags. He probably lives a miserable life and is in poverty. And he knew that he was a person who liked calligraphy, painting, and other things, so he wanted to sell this so-called ancestral stone order as an antique to get some money. After figuring this out, Li Fan couldn't help but smile. He has no interest in collecting antiques. System mission released, for every similar stone order collected, you can get a butterfly. At this moment, a voice sounded in his mind. When Li Fan heard this, he was stunned for a moment. Has the system task been released? Can this stone-breaking order be exchanged for butterflies? Li Fan didn't find it strange, because the tasks issued by the system were much more ridiculous than this. Now, after getting the square stone order from Ji Yuanqing, he immediately discovered that he could get another kind of butterfly. We are one step closer to 7 kinds of butterflies. Li Fan was immediately overjoyed. No matter what, it was a good thing. He found all 7 kinds of butterflies earlier and gave them to Yun 11 earlier, so that he would not be worried all day long. He immediately said, Okay, I accept this thing. Give me this thing. What kind of reward do you want? Li Fan asked. He thought to himself that the stone token didn't look like a valuable thing, so the other party wouldn't be able to open his mouth like a lion. Hearing this, Ji Yuanqing was overjoyed. This senior accepted it. It seems that the other party really has an old relationship with the Ji family. He was very excited and said immediately. Senior is willing to accept this thing. I am very grateful to this junior. How dare you ask for reward? Li Fan shook his head, thinking that this old man was not very sincere. He was so hypocritical in making a deal. He weighed the stone order and said. Zi Ling, get the pen and ink. Zi Ling immediately got the pen and ink. Li Fan picked up his pen and started painting directly. Under his pen, A surging river appeared in an instant. That long river is like a giant dragon winding across the earth, rushing away, seemingly never stopping. The momentum is surging and majestic. This long river was drawn, and everyone in the field was shocked. This long river is very extraordinary. It has a mysterious Taoist charm. It seems impossible to look directly at it. This river, I feel like it's something that doesn't belong in this world. A group of disciples were all surprised. When Xuanhuan saw this, his expression was even more shocked, and he was so shocked that he was speechless. This river, is this river, the ancestral river of our clan, Jishui? He recalled the fragments of time he had seen before. The clan members left, and there was a peerless strong man who, with peerless magic power, took away a long river and the ancestral lands on both sides of the river. That long river is Jishui. The place where their clan was born is also the source of their clan's holy path. This senior, actually once met our clan's Zhuhe. What a heaven-defying figure he must be. Could it be that in that great catastrophe when all the holy Dao forces fled, this senior actually stood firm, terrible? His old eyes are filled with complexity. Moreover, he clearly felt that this painting mobilized countless avenues of heaven and earth, just like truly restoring the ancestral river. He even felt the avenues unique to their clan in the painting. Those ones. Their Huangtianzhou lineage has long forgotten the inheritance of the great Dao. But Li Fan smiled slightly and stopped writing. Finished. He sensed a picture of a long river from the simple stone order, so he drew it. Li Fan felt uneasy about accepting the old man's stone order out of thin air. This painting was made by Li Fan after seeing the old man's stone order. It was considered a fate, so he took it as a reward and gave it to the old man. Li Fan calmly handed the painting to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan was dumbfounded when he saw this. Give such a thing to yourself? Among them, it is very likely that they contain the ancient avenue of their clan. Inestimable value. His mind was deeply shaken. This was a gift he could not refuse. Because, their lineage, Huangtianzhou, had been cut off since the first heaven realm was destroyed by the immortal realm, and even he, as the clan leader, was just a little golden immortal. Now that the three major heavens have noticed the existence of the heavens, their clan urgently needs to grow. And this painting given by the senior is equivalent to giving them back all the inheritance they lost. What a blessing is this! This senior has not only met our ancestor He, but he is also familiar with our clan's holy way. His origin is not unimaginable. He must have a sworn relationship with the Ji family. That's why he treats the descendants of the Ji clan so kindly. Xuanhuan was moved, with tears in his eyes. He took the painting with trembling hands and said, "Thank you, senior, more seniors. Senior's great kindness will never be forgotten by our clan." Li Fan smiled. This painting is definitely worth a lot of money in the outside world, and it can make this old man make a lot of money. He opened his mouth and said, "It's a small matter, no need to say thank you. However, if Senior Ji has other stone orders and they can be brought here, Li Fan will definitely be rewarded. Since the other party has one, maybe he can find others." Hearing this, Xuanhuan's eyes were startled for a moment, but he reacted immediately. Senior Li wants the stone order probably because he wants to find a way to return from the hidden place. He took a deep look at the maze diagram in Li Fan's hand. "Senior, we only have this one in our hands, but I know where it is." He was very excited. If nothing else, there must be three heavens. After all, Xuanhuan now knows that the four heavens should be the coordinates left by the fleeing holy forces. The Ji family left behind the Yuanzi stone order, and it is impossible for the other three heavens to be without it. Moreover, this senior's cultivation is so powerful that he can destroy the three heavens. I'm afraid it's just a snap of his fingers. When Li Fan heard this, he was immediately overjoyed. "My butterfly has disappeared. He immediately looked at Zhuge Yuqing and others and said, "Disciples, after you go out, follow the old man to look for this kind of stone order." Hearing this, Zhuge Yuqing, Long Xuanhuan and others were instantly stunned. This thing actually allows master to personally interrogate. It must not be simple. It seems that this stone order must involve a major secret. Everyone knows it. Master, please rest assured, we will definitely bring it back. They all spoke in unison. Li Fan also nodded, thought for a while, and said, "Zi Ling, go to the study and find some paintings for them to take with them. It might be useful. After all, to go to Xiling, you also need to bring some capital to exchange, and he has no money." I had no choice but to let Zhuge Yuqing and others take the calligraphy and painting with them, just like exchanging with Ji Yuanqing, in case they would not give it. Upon hearing this, Zi Ling immediately went to the study room. Master asked junior brother Zhuge and others to go with the calligraphy and paintings. It must have been predicted that there is a high possibility of encountering a powerful enemy. Zi Ling thought about it and understood. She specially selected a few paintings and calligraphy that contain the path of killing. Walking out of the study, Xiling handed the calligraphy and painting to Zhuge Yuqing and others. When Zhuge Yuqing and others saw this, they all happily accepted it. "Master, let's go first." They said goodbye. Immediately afterwards, a group of people left the small courtyard immediately. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 217. Out of the small mountain village. Old sir, you wait here. Let's go with Miss Huolinger and the others to quell this invasion first. Then we'll come to find you. Then you can lead us to find Xiling. Zhuge Yuqing spoke to Ji Yuanqing. They still had to go to war first, and then they could go find Xiling after the war. No conflict, no conflict. Ji Yuanqing hurriedly explained. To tell you the truth, those stone orders are hidden in the three heavens. If you can defeat the three heavens, you will definitely get it. Hearing this, Long Xuanhuan and others were overjoyed. In that case, it's just the right way to go. But there was a look of hesitation on Ji Yuanqing's old face, and he said. However, the three heavens are extremely involved, and there are many immortals. I'm afraid. After all, the three major heavens all involve the forces of the Holy Way. If Li Fan took action himself, he believed there would be absolutely no problem. But, although each of these young people are extremely talented, they have not yet achieved immortality. Old sir, you don't believe us. Lu Rang was unhappy and said. Just come with us and watch. Walk. The group of people left quickly. Not long after. They had already arrived outside the void sea area of the heaven. The heavenly soldiers and generals from heaven are already waiting in formation. There are fully 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals. It can be called a very terrifying army. However, at this moment, compared with the opposite side, the heavenly army seems so sparse and weak. At a glance, the void sea is densely packed, like a tide, boundless. The 6 huge battleships headed by it are like giant mountains. They are all immortal. We can't let them get close, otherwise the heaven will not be able to bear the fluctuations of the battle. At this time, Holy Lord Yuanyang stepped forward to report. Huolinger looked at Zhuge Yuqing and others. Not enough points. Zhuge Yuqing scratched his head and said. There are 7 of us, but there are only 6 immortals across from us. Zhuge Yuqing, Lu Rang, Long Xuanhuan, Qing Chen, Lin Zhuzhen, Zhang Li, Wu Dade. That's 7 people. I go first. Xuanhuan took one step forward and charged directly towards the million-strong army that was attacking the opponent. "Oh no, you don't have martial ethics, why did you run away?" When Lu Rang saw this, he immediately became anxious and killed him instantly while holding Cao. "That's so good, it's time for the young monk to save them." Qing Chen also took action. "Wait for us." Wu Date and Duguyuking were also anxious and hurriedly followed. They scramble. "I am afraid that I will have no opponent." Seeing this scene, the heavenly soldiers and generals in the heaven were dumbfounded. Why do I feel that they seem very excited? Yes, it's a bit perverted. It's too fierce. Everyone had complicated expressions. "Master Zhang Li, aren't you going?" At this time, Mu Jianing looked at Zhang Li with some curiosity. As long as Zhang Li didn't move, Zhang Li smiled and said, "Senior brother, they like to fight alone. And I'm going to play a big one." He took one step forward and did not enter the battlefield. Instead, he stepped into a place in the void and took out his chessboard. He seems ready to play chess. The Third Heavenly Vanguard Army. Is this the so-called heaven? Haha, it's so shabby, how dare you call it heaven? Even a large Earth-level world can destroy them, right? It's ridiculous, I think we are making a fuss out of a molehill. Countless people were mocking. Compared with their millions of troops, the 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals in front of them were like a lonely family. However, at this moment, 6 figures suddenly looked like comets, with a long rainbow light in the void sea, rushing towards the 6 immortal-class battleships. Haha, Deluo Jinxian. On a warship, a disdainful sneer appeared on the face of an immortal lord. "It's ridiculous. How dare an ant hit a giant dragon with its head? If the top combat power in the world is just these few Deluo Jinxian words, they can be destroyed with one hand." Immortal Lord level figures don't take immortal generals seriously at all. That's the chasm, that's the chasm. It's useless to talk too much, just kill them. An immortal king wearing a blue robe even raised his hand. In an instant, a terrifying big hand appeared in the void sea. This big hand covered the sky and covered the 6 people who were charging towards him. "Brothers, this kid is crazy enough. He wants to fight 6 of them by himself. Let's help him." Lu Rang shouted loudly. "Good." The remaining 5 people shouted in unison. "The sword is soaring to the sky. There are patches of grass everywhere. The spell is amazing. 6 terrifying powers are coming with a bang. Boom. The void explodes. This big hand disappeared instantly. The terrifying power swept over and instantly enveloped the warship where the blue-robed immortal lord was. Hiss. There were 10,000 people on the warship, and they were all shocked at this moment. The blue-robed immortal lord's expression changed drastically. At this moment, he actually felt something. "I can't resist this blow." He just hesitated for a moment, and then the figure disappeared from the place. Bang! The entire immortal-class warship exploded at this moment. Dozens of warships around were all affected. Countless casualties. How could this be so? Is this the power of an immortal general? Impossible, this is obviously invincible to immortality. God, how can there be such a powerful immortal general in this world? Millions of coalition troops were all shocked. On top of another warship. When Wei and Tianjun saw this scene, his pupils shrank even more. Does the Tao they practice contain a trace of the law of the Holy Tao? He murmured, shocked. The immortal way has shortcomings. The whole world, whether it is the immortal realm or the millions of lower realms, the way of practitioners is incomplete. Because, the source of the holy path has been taken away by those forces of the holy path. Therefore, in this world, all the practitioners and the way they practice, can be said to be deformed and incomplete. Only in the nails and coordinates left by the forces of the Holy Way, there is a trace of the sacred mark. He is one of the principles of the third heaven realm, and he has only seen it once and felt the supreme power. So, at this moment, he understood that these people had received a hint of the blessing of the Holy Way during their practice. And even just a trace can make a qualitative change in a cultivator's cultivation. It seems true, the first heaven has revived, and the coordinates of the G family have reappeared, and these people are the descendants of the G family. Wen Tianjun's face was so cold, and he immediately shouted, "Kill these 6 people with all your strength and never hold back." Moment. 6 immortals appear. Kill. The terrifying immortal aura is overwhelming the entire void sea. The waves in the void keep rolling. Die. Duguyuking faced an immortal, with 1 stroke and 1 stroke. The sword intent broke through the clouds and cut off the sky, and all the immortal's attacks were broken by him. After just 1 fight, the immortal was already shocked to the extreme and used his strongest means. Facing the attack of the immortals like a huge wave, Qing Chen was like a holy monk. He casually swept the broom in his hand, and the avenues fell down, and the immortals couldn't even touch his sleeves. "You evil cultivator!" An immortal fought against Lin Zhujian, and the spells written by Lin Zhujian kept appearing. The immortal felt that his soul was producing many strange things, as if it was about to be sealed. He was shocked and angry, thinking that Lin Zhujian in front of him was some evil cultivator. "Is this all you have? A hit on me would be worse than a bite from a dog." On the other side, Wu Dade's body actually glowed faintly. When the immortal's attack fell, he received it horribly with his body. As he shouted, the immortal was extremely angry. "What kind of grass is this?" The immortal who fought against Lu Rang almost doubted his life at this moment. Every piece of grass that fell was like a huge force, shattering all his defenses. He can only keep escaping. However, those grasses were extremely ferocious, and when they were chopped down continuously, blood marks appeared on his body. There was a fierce battle in the field. The 6 Deluo Golden Immortals took the initiative to fight fiercely with the 6 Immortals, and they actually did not lose at this moment. In fact, the 6 great Immortal Kings are still a little weak. Seeing this scene, the heavenly soldiers and generals in heaven were all shocked. "It's too scary. The great Luo Jingxian can fight with the immortal, it's unheard of and unseen. It's really scary for Mr. Lu to wait for you. He deserves to be Senior Li's disciple." Holy Lord Yuan Yang and others murmured. "Is this the true genius? With the realm of Deluo Jingxian, he fights for immortality." Dugu Shenlu was even more emotional. They all knew that Senior Li's disciples would be very evil, but they never expected that they would be so evil. Many coalition forces in the third heaven realm were even more horrified at this moment. Extraordinary, extraordinary. In the realm of Deluo Jingxian, you can already fight against immortality. How terrible would it be if you could prove immortality? This world must be the former first heaven. We must not let them survive. Everyone was talking about it. On the battleship, Wen Tianjun's face was even more gloomy. These 6 people were more terrifying than he imagined. The whole army attacks. "Kill these 6 people and kill the heaven." He gave the order. The whole army covers up. In an instant, 1,000,000 troops roared into action. Fight forward. Just by advancing, the millions of troops have already caused a terrible wave in the void. The power is shocking. The 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals in the heaven can never be stopped. But, right now, in the void sea, invisible lines suddenly appeared. An army of millions seemed to have entered a vast and boundless chessboard. What happened? I feel a kind of confinement. What happened? What kind of formation is this? Everyone is shocked. And above the void? Zhang Li smiled slightly. He was playing chess with himself on the chessboard. The sunspots have invaded. but Bai Zi has already prepared the tiger's mouth. He picked up a white chess piece. Fall gently. In an instant. Bang 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 bang. Among the millions of troops, thousands of battleships and hundreds of thousands of troops exploded with a bang. Everything exploded into blood mist in an instant, leaving no trace behind. So scary. An army of 1 million people directly lost over 200,000 people. No. Quick, get out of these lines. This is a terrifying killing array, you must escape quickly. Among the millions of troops, countless old immortal generals and others shouted hurriedly. Turn the battleship's head around and prepare to evacuate. But, above the void, Zhang Li faced the fleeing black piece, but dropped another white piece. He was methodical, gradually nibbling and killing the sunspots. Bang bang bang. The sounds of explosions sounded one after another. The immortal general-class battleships seemed to have turned into paper, exploding one after another. The army of 1 million is now decreasing in units of tens of thousands. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the million-strong army was lost. In the void sea, the wailing sound shook millions of miles of space. Dare you? At this moment, even Wen Tianjun himself couldn't stand it any longer. An angry look suddenly appeared on his festering face, and he suddenly took a step forward and blasted towards Zhang Li, who was playing chess in the void. The terrifying power of the Heavenly Lord is far greater than immortality. However, Zhang Li's expression remained unchanged. Everyone who enters my chessboard is my son. You can kill whoever I tell you to kill. He dropped a stone at random. The terrifying Tianjun attack was like a huge wave, suddenly falling on the head of the Third Heavenly Coalition army. Boom! The huge shock wave shook the invisible chessboard connected by vertical and horizontal lines, and void whirlpools formed in the void, swallowing countless lives. With this blow, the army of millions was completely reduced to decay. Total destruction. 1 million troops in the third heaven died in the hands of Zhang Li. At this moment, the vast void sea battlefield suddenly became quiet. Countless people in the heaven were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 218. Millions of troops, at this moment, all turned into nothingness. The battleship was destroyed. There is no one left. Everyone was dumbfounded. What's going on? A generation of heavenly kings killed his own army. No, it's Mr. Zhang Li. His chess has mysterious power. It's too scary. Once you enter his chessboard, can you only be controlled by him? Everyone's expression changed. Even Lu Rang, Du Guyuking and others who were having a dramatic battle looked back and felt dumbfounded. Oh no, junior brother Zhang Li, your ability is a bit abnormal. Only senior sister Xiling can suppress you, right? Lu Rang still had time to spare and spoke in shock. They had only seen this kind of terrifying power from Xiling. Super large area of suppression and killing. Even Wen Tianjun was shocked at this moment. He looked at Zhang Li in disbelief. What kind of chess game is this? Could it be that he is the descendant of the Black and White King? He was shocked. This terrifying chess ability made him think of the King of Black and White. He was a truly ruthless man. In the era when the Holy Way was not yet apparent, he killed all over the world and almost overturned the realms of immortals and demons, just to find the source of the Holy Way. In the past, their third heaven was visited by each other. At that time, he was just a little immortal king. He even remembered that the other party once forced them from the third heaven realm to hand over all the holy stone tokens they were guarding. However, after the other party played with them for a few days, they returned them to the third heaven realm. At this moment, Zhang Li's style. It reminded him of the legendary figure among the immortal kings, the Black and White King. No. I will never let you survive. He spoke in a ferocious voice, and in an instant, a terrifying look appeared on his face. like a ferocious evil ghost, like a bloodthirsty yaksha. Forcing me to use the sacred magic, you're done. The reason why his face was ruined was because he practiced a cruel method spread in the stone order. Green-faced fangs. The green-faced and fanged Dharma image is in one place, and the aura between heaven and earth is gloomy. Extremely dark power burst out from him. The vertical and horizontal lines under his feet seemed to be unable to bear it and turned into nothingness. Invincible. The power of a generation of heavenly kings dominates the entire sea area. Everything on Zhang Li's chessboard began to tremble faintly. Is it dark? He murmured and suddenly closed his eyes. He was thinking about every game he played with Li Fan. Teacher only plays chess with himself. There is no other enemy in this world except yourself. Conquer yourself and you conquer everything. You join me, and you become me. Whether it's evil or good, there is no distinction between them, there is no distinction between black and white. He murmured, and suddenly, the aura on his body changed suddenly. There seemed to be a mixture of black and white lingering between his fingers. The aura of immortality on his body was extremely strong. All the heavens and worlds, countless principles, suddenly poured into it at this moment. When one person becomes enlightened, all realms will be harmonious. Thousands of Taoisms fell down, baptizing him, and the entire void sea trembled. Immortal. At this moment, Zhang Li stepped into the realm of immortality. He has become an immortal king. The whole audience was watching, and everyone was dumbfounded. Even the 6 immortal kings who were fighting, as well as Tugu Yuking, Lu Rang and others turned around. Their opponents, the 6 immortal kings, all had a sudden change in their expressions at this moment, because even the principles of Tao in them felt like they had been deprived of them. Terrible. Under the gaze of thousands of people. In the void sea that stretches thousands of miles. Suddenly, countless black and white invisible threads emerged from the void and spread all over the sky. Millions of miles are all Zhang Li's chessboard. Black and white chessboard. At this moment, Wen Tianjun, who had revealed his green face and Fang's appearance, had a look of horror in his eyes. Black and white chessboard, is he really his descendant? No. He is obviously dead. He was born in the wrong era. The holy descendant will not appear. He cannot find the source of the holy way. How could you possibly do this? Wen Tianjun shouted. However, Zhang Li's chess piece has fallen. I won't admit defeat. The faceless heavenly lord's law shook the sky, and all the heavens and worlds trembled. His original power exploded, and the terrifying Xuanhuan immortal chi almost turned black, corroding everything. However, in the black and white straight lines, his power seemed to turn into nothingness. The chess piece falls. At the intersection of black and white lines under his feet, some kind of power suddenly appeared. At this moment, Wen Tianjun, who appeared at the peak and burned the origin of cultivation, suddenly felt that everything was out of his control. His power is being decomposed. His cultivation was like being swallowed up. He can't help himself. No. He screamed. The next moment, his body split open. Turned into flesh and blood. Death comes as promised. A generation of heavenly kings died just like that. At this moment, there is boundless blood rain in the void sea. The whole place was shocked. A generation of heavenly kings was killed. I tried my best, but in the end I couldn't do anything but master Zhang Li's wave. Is this the real secret of the great Dao? It's too scary. The 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals were all dumbfounded. Last time, before Master Zhang Li became a disciple of Senior Li, he was just an immortal. Holy Lord Ling Chao and others were in a trance, feeling that everything in front of them was simply distorted. In just a few months, an immortal becomes immortal? Who would believe this? The fairyland will be shaken. With the appearance of Deluo Jingxian, they will face the immortal Lord and achieve immortality in the battle. Senior Li sent them here just to achieve their goals. Huo Linger was in a trance. As expected of the ancestor of our clan, he has an old supreme existence, the three heavens. His old man is just using it to train his disciples, he doesn't take it seriously at all. Ji Yuanqing was even more emotional. He is worthy of being an unparalleled master. The disciple of such a strong man is so powerful. At the same time, he cherished the Jishui painting in his arms even more. It contains the ancient ways of their clan. Our Ji clan will definitely be able to rise again with this painting. He murmured and clenched his fists. In the battlefield ahead, a generation of heavenly kings died like this. The 6 great immortal kings of the third heaven realm all lost their minds at this moment. What? How is it possible? Even Tianjun is dead, so evil, so evil. We have to run away, run away. They spoke tremblingly. Turn around and run. The 6 immortal lords have no desire to fight at all. However, just when they were about to escape, the black and white vertical and horizontal lines suddenly appeared at their feet. In an instant, they couldn't escape at all. Brothers, I leave it to you. Zhang leaves the exit. Good. Kill them. They all spoke. Go all out. Not long after, the 6 immortal kings turned into a rain of blood. Spread all over the sky. The millions of troops in the third heaven, including the immortals, were all destroyed. Seeing this scene, the 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals were all shocked. Is this a battle for the strong? They have no use at all. Is everything over? Many people looked at Zhang Li with awe written in their eyes. This seemingly gentle young man is simply a monster. Next, we should kill the third heaven. Zhuge Yuking's thoughts were still unfinished, and she said, get back the stone order that master wants, and at the same time, fight to gain enlightenment. Yes. Damn it, no one is allowed to compete with me this time for the heavenly lord level powerhouse, otherwise don't blame me for being impatient. It's so good, so good. It's up to me to save such a person as a heavenly king. Everyone is scrambling. They have already felt that ordinary immortal kings cannot put too much pressure on them. Not enough to achieve the results they want. At least get to Tianjun level. Stop fighting, the 3 heavens are enough for us to share. Lin Zhuchen opened his mouth and said, let's go to the third heaven. Suddenly, 7 people flew away in the air. They are heading towards the third heaven. Follow up. Huo Linger gave an order, and 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals set off accordingly. Now, the third heaven. According to time, Wen and the others should have destroyed that realm. Kudeo Tianjun put down the teacup in his hand and said, it's time for me to go back. It's really not worth it to disrupt my practice. That makes sense. We need to speed up our cultivation in order to welcome the holy descendant. The stronger we are, the more we can receive the master's gift. A group of heavenly kings all spoke one after another. To them, it's very simple. After all, even the first heaven where the immortal king level was born has been destroyed for so many years. Even if the first heaven really reappears, it is nothing more than an ember that can be extinguished with a snap of a finger. Not good. But, at this moment, a horrified cry suddenly came. An immortal king hurriedly went to the palace and said, reporting to the heavenly lords, something big has happened. The Wei and Tianjun and the soul lamps of the 6 immortal kings, are all destroyed. Total destruction. Hearing this, the faces of all the heavenly lords present changed drastically. What? How can this be? Wu Yan is the Lord of Heaven, and he has even cultivated the Dharma of green-faced fangs. Could the immortal king take action? All the heavenly lords were shocked. 1 heavenly lord, 6 immortal lords, all destroyed. Such a record. Could it be said that the current new world has restored the strength of the former first heaven realm? Prepare for war now. Xuanhuan stood up, with an angry look on his face, and said, calling all the immortal kings in the third heaven, send a message to inform the second and fourth heavens. He is preparing for a decisive battle. Even the second world and the fourth world were summoned. In addition, notify the Dark Saint Waterfall. Hearing this, the heavenly kings were even more shocked. Dark Saint Waterfall. Where? It's a forbidden place in the third heaven. On weekdays, even they are not qualified to go. Do I need to alarm them? Kudao Tianjun murmured. I hope not. Xuanhuan said coldly, took a step forward and said, get ready to fight. In an instant, there was a sensation in the third heaven. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 219. Huge earthquake in the void sea. Everything that happened in the third heaven spread quickly. The world around them was shocked when they heard it. In the third heaven, there are many forces from the immortal realm. After getting the news, they contacted the immortal realm immediately. Reporting to the main sect, the first heaven seems to be making a comeback. 7 immortals have died in the third heaven. The war is coming. In a fairy city, an immortal king solemnly transmitted his voice to the communication crystal. Please report to the immortal kingdom immediately. The first heaven realm has made a comeback and is extremely powerful. There will be a war in the lower realm, please pay attention immediately. Please ask the immortal kingdom to send people for reinforcements. All kinds of news came from the third heaven. At the same time, the other 2 heavenly realms also received the news. The first heaven is making a comeback. In the next world, in a huge golden palace, a man wearing golden armor had a sneer on his face. Below him, the 8 heavenly kings looked solemn. It's interesting. Lord Kishan and Lord Jinhuishan, how about you two go on a trip? The man in golden armor spoke. As you command. The 2 heavenly kings stood up and left immediately. The fourth world. Is the G family coming back? The leader was an old man, with a row of white bones hanging around his neck, which looked rough and weird. We must not sit idly by, Dongshi Tianjun, how about bothering you? Next, a heavenly king stood up immediately and said, I will destroy everyone in the G family. Fairyland. There are changes in all the major immortal realms today. Eastern Immortal Territory. Today, in the Mingluo Immortal Kingdom, a heavenly lord urgently summoned the heavenly lord level figures in the country. The reappearance of the first heaven, coupled with the sword intention of the former Wuji Sword King, once attacked from the lower world, we must not sit idly by and watch. Light the Immortal King candle immediately and notify the Immortal King. In the Western Immortal Realm, there is a Buddhist country. There are countless temples, and the sound of scriptures moves the heavens. There are changes in the lower realm and the reappearance of the first heaven. Perhaps, is this a sign of the imminent catastrophe of immortality? A statue, like a withered old monk, sighed slightly. He gently knocked on the wooden fish and murmured something in a low voice to the immortal Buddha enshrined there. Central Fairyland. When the immortal king left, he once said that he was going to investigate a major cause and effect, and he should not be disturbed unless he had to. In Anchuo Fairy Kingdom, an old man murmured, very hesitant. But, this matter is also a big cause and effect for the immortal king. Another old man opened his mouth and said, the first heaven has reappeared. The former Wuji Sword King even dared to say that the real sword was planted in the lower world and that when he returns, he will kill all the immortal kings. This cause and effect must be resolved. The first old man nodded and finally took out a mirror. He dropped 3 drops of the blood of the heavenly lord. Now, there are many hidden places in the fairyland. There are changes. In a fairy palace, 2 extremely terrifying figures sit opposite each other, One of them has Tai Chi lines on his forehead. These two people are clearly Immortal King Anchuo and Immortal King Yulan. It has been 3 months since I returned from the long river of cause and effect. Yulan looked at Immortal King Anchuo and said, "Do you really care so much about this cause and effect?" Immortal King Anchuo shook his head and said, "Once the holy descendant comes, the ancient clan will reappear. Even though we are immortal kings, before the holy way, we will be struck by God's will. If we cannot survive, we will have to fall. On the contrary, powerful creatures such as the Phoenix clan can often be minimally affected, and will even take off in the era when the Holy Deo reappears. This matter must be ended before the Holy Deo comes, and the true Phoenix clan must be exterminated. Otherwise, I will feel uneasy." Yulan sighed deeply and said, "You are determined, but unfortunately, I have tried all kinds of deduction methods, but I can only see the fog." Anchuo was silent. Is it really impossible to find cause and effect? But, right now. Suddenly, a divine light shot out from his eyes. He stood up suddenly. The avenue moves with it? What's wrong? Yulan asked in surprise. Cause and effect has appeared. Entuo looked gloomy and said, "The first heaven has reappeared and can already destroy the heavenly lord. I suspect that the immortal king is taking action." Hearing this, Yulan was shocked and said, "The first heaven realm is the coordinates left by a certain holy path force in the void sea. I didn't support your participation in that battle in the past, and now it has reappeared. This cause and effect is indeed remarkable. Once the holy path forces return, you may be afraid." Immortal King Anchuo looked cold and said, "So, I have to go there myself. The first heaven is immortal, I feel uneasy." He turned around and took a step forward. The figure disappeared directly from the place. Somewhere in the mountains. Endless mountains stand, stretching for millions of miles. But there is a person under the mountains. He was extremely tall, with mountains on his shoulders. The mountains millions of miles away on the earth are all carried on his shoulders. Extremely scary. This is a giant-like man. I will only stay here, waiting for my ancestors to return, and I will not leave." The giant man spoke indifferently and looked at an old man in front of him. That old man was surprisingly the immortal King Mingluo. Immortal King Mingluo talked with him hard for more than a month, but he still could not persuade him. "Aren't you even interested in the inheritance of the King of Black and White? You must know that he is the person closest to the holy path. There are even rumors that in his 10th life, he became the real immortal emperor. Once he enters the holy path, he will be the most terrifying saint in the realm of the holy way." Immortal King Mingluo spoke sincerely. A person who was born in the wrong era, no matter how powerful he is, has never stepped into the holy path. The giant man was disdainful and said, "Go ahead, remember the friendship we have shared for many years. When my ancestors come, I may say a word of love for you." Immortal King Mingluo let out a long sigh. He is just an ordinary immortal king, and because he participated in the sniper battle against the first immortal king of heaven in the past, he has hidden wounds in his body. Therefore, I want to rely on this man. Because the opponent's bloodline is extremely strong, and he looks like a king. However, the other party insisted on this. Don't want to go at all. He turned and left. Right now. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Immortal King Mingluo's mind. He turned around suddenly and said, "Immortal King Olin, I'm afraid you have to go down to the lower world now." Giant Orin said calmly, "Oh. Because, the first heaven has reappeared." A smile appeared on Mingluo's old face and he said, "It seems like the Ji family and your clan have a big feud, right? If there was no hatred, the Olin immortal king of the past would not have participated in the sniper killing of the first immortal king of heaven." Hearing this, immortal King Olin suddenly raised his eyes. The killing intent in his eyes is like burning. He suddenly stepped out. The millions of mountains on his body suddenly fell down. Somewhere in the entire eastern immortal territory, countless mountains collapsed, and tens of thousands of mountains were broken. First heaven. Immortal King Olin said word by word. If you dare to lie to me, I will turn you into Hongmeng ectoplasm. Northern immortal territory, northern frontier. Xianming fairyland. The first heaven, is it really the first heaven? The faces of Xian Tianjun and Xianguang Tianjun were filled with incredible expressions. Even Tianjun level figures are dead. It's amazing. I'm afraid this time, we will have to repeat the battle that happened when we killed the first immortal king of heaven. Xianan murmured, and finally spoke, saying, activate the magic circle and send the message to the immortal king. The entire fairyland was shaken. All parties are paying close attention. And at this moment, the lower realm, in the endless void sea. 7 rainbow lights, extremely fast. Shortly after, they finally appeared in a certain void sea. Ahead is a vast world. Bigger than heaven. It deserves to be the heaven second only to the fairyland. Dugu Yuking held the pen in his hand and said, I hope there will be more Tianjun level figures to let me finish writing the word forever. This battlefield is big enough. Lu Rang also rubbed his hands, looked at Zhang Li and said, don't mess around. They've all been killed and we don't have to kill them anymore. He ordered. Now Lu Rang, in the eyes of everyone, is a dangerous person on the same level as Zi Ling. The ability to destroy enemies on a large scale is so monstrous. It's a team battle, Dad. Okay. Zhang Li nodded. They're coming. Wu Dade pointed forward. I saw an endless army lined up outside the third heaven, numbering 7 to 8 million. Among them, there are dozens of immortal class warships. The aura of the heavenly sovereign level is even more looming. And with the emergence of the third heavenly army, armies gathered from everywhere in the void sea. The Jinhui Tianjun and Kaiming Jun of the second world led an army of 1 million to come to support. The fourth heavenly lord Dongshi Tianjun has arrived with an army of 1.5 million. The news shook the sky. There are millions of coalition forces from the big world affiliated to the 3 heavens around. There are tens of millions of troops in the void sea. There are more than 10 heavenly kings, hundreds of immortals, tens of thousands of Deluo golden immortals, millions of Tai golden immortals, and countless golden immortals. Tens of millions of troops besieged the 7 Deluo Jinxian. Unprecedented. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 220. The Vast Sea of Void. Beyond the third heaven. A shocking scene. Tens of millions of troops surrounded 7 young men. Among these tens of millions of troops, there are as many strong men as clouds. This kind of lineup, without the immortal king, can even be called Bang Xianyu. But now, it's just to deal with 7 young people. The 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals in the heaven have also arrived at the outskirts of the sea area. However, everyone was shocked when they saw the situation ahead. In front of an army of tens of millions, 200,000 heavenly soldiers and generals. Like a glass of water in front of the ocean. They stopped. Have the 3 heavens taken action with all their strength? Ji Yuanqing murmured and said. If we win this battle, then half of the great revenge of the first heaven realm will have been avenged. Because, the big reason why the first heaven suffered a great disaster in the past years was caused by the other 3 heavens. The first heaven, does not represent the same force as the other 3 heavens. Now, we can't help anymore. Holy Lord Yuan Yang murmured. Senior Li. Actually trains his disciples like this? It's too scary. Everyone else was also dumbfounded. In their opinion, there is no doubt that this is Senior Li's training for his disciples. But, let 7 people spend more than 10 million? Among them, there are countless heavenly kings and immortals. Among these 7 people, at best, there is only one immortal at present. Senior Li is trying to temper the strongest genius. If I can win, I will definitely become the most powerful immortal in heaven and on earth. Terrible, terrible. Everyone is looking ahead from a distance. And at this moment, beyond the third heaven, Lu Rang and the other 7 people saw this battle. Also a little scared. Nima, this welcome ceremony is a bit grand, isn't it? Lu Rang spoke, not because he was afraid, but because there were too many people and it was so dark. This kind of pressure alone made people uncomfortable. Not particular, not particular. Monks, they value simplicity in everything, I will have to educate them well later. Qing Chen looks serious. Wait a minute, brothers, each of you has a talisman. Lin Zhuchen grabbed a handful of talismans and distributed them to everyone, saying, this talisman can withstand a sneak attack. Later, there will definitely be a chaotic battle. Therefore, a sneak attack can easily happen. Everyone accepted it. Fight. The harder you hit me, the thicker I will be. I won't have to worry about that dead dog biting me again when I go back. Wu Date gritted his teeth. There are too many people, senior brothers, I will help you control these tens of millions of troops later. As for the immortal and the heavenly lord, I will leave them to you, how about that? Zhang Li spoke. Can. Dugu Yuking nodded, stepped forward and said. Who is in charge of the 3 heavens? In front of the first heavenly army, the immortal heavenly king Xuanhuan walked out with the 6 heavenly kings. Wuxian Tianjun, died at your hands. Xuanhuan asked indifferently. Are you talking about that guy with a bad face? Dugu Yuking smiled and said. He's too weak. I hope you will be stronger. Hearing this, the tens of millions of troops were all in an uproar and anger. Dugu Yuking, this is a naked insult. Very good, I'm very curious, who gave you such courage as a little immortal general? Xuanhuan spoke coldly and said. Today, even if the immortal king comes, he can't save you. He raised his hand. The spaces cracked inch by inch. The terrifying aura directly enveloped Dugu Yuking. The space he was in was almost completely gone. Along with him, Sichuan Zhen is infinitely close to the immortal king. Moreover, his cultivation seems to contain a hint of the holy way. I'm afraid it would be difficult for him to face the real immortal king. Dugu Yuking suddenly shouted. The Huangtian brush in my hand has appeared. Open. He draws it in one stroke. The Kaishan sword intention burst out. Crush all monsters and monsters. Chaos reappears, space is reorganized. Lord Xuanzhen's attack was blocked by him. Hiss. Now. The tens of millions of troops were all shocked. That is a blow that is extremely close to the immortal king. How could he be so evil? Is this still Deluo Jinxian? Bullshit Deluo Jinxian, even if he says he is the immortal king, I believe it. Countless troops discussed in an uproar. And the faces of many heavenly lord-level experts are extremely solemn at this moment. An immortal general can never do this, unless he has obtained the nourishment of the holy way. Beside Lord Xuanzhen, Lord Qudao walked out, his old eyes full of solemn expression, saying, more laws of the holy path have been obtained than you and I. The entire third heaven is the coordinates left by a certain holy power. A stone order was also left behind. Among the many heavenly lords, Qudao Heavenly Lord and Xuanzhen Heavenly Lord were fortunate enough to have obtained a trace of the laws of the holy way. It is those traces of the holy law that make their cultivation levels proud of those at the same level, and even make them infinitely close to the immortal king. But in front of me, This young man, clearly showed the holy way. Kill him and deprive him of the laws of the holy way in his body, and we will reach a higher level. Right. He's mine. The group of heavenly lords around were even more jealous. Even if there is only a little bit, it will be of great help. Kill. Destroy him. Immediately, the Tianjun level masters in the third heaven camp couldn't sit still. They took action. Haha, what a great opportunity. Jinhui Tianjun and other 2 people from the second world also took action suddenly. There are 10 heavenly king level figures in the field. At this moment, let's kill Xiang Lurang and the other 7 people together. And hundreds of immortal monarchs also rushed towards him. This kind of lineup is almost enough to defeat the immortal king. It's on. Long Xuanhuan stepped forward and punched directly, targeting the 2 heavenly kings. The dragon soul roars fiercely. With this punch, it felt like hundreds of giant dragons were dancing with it. The space trembled and was fragmented. Countless armies felt the power of this punch. The 2 immortal kings clashed with each other. Long Xuanhuan's figure retreated hundreds of miles. However, a strong fighting spirit burst out in his eyes. They are mine. He rushed forward and killed the 2 heavenly kings. You, and you. Dugu Yuking stepped forward, pointed at Xuanzhen Tianjun and Kudao Tianjun, and said, "You are mine." Arrogant. Kudao Tianjun shouted angrily, "These young people in front of him, are they picking and choosing as if they are dividing some resources? Should be killed. The 2 heavenly kings are coming to kill." With a hint of the holy way, Dugu Yuking, with the Huangtian brush in his hand, made a powerful move. Point. Horizontal. Vertical. The swords will stretches across tens of thousands of miles. The grass in Lurang's hand erupted with terrifying energy, like thousands of swords, slashing at the Jinhui Tianjun and Kaiming Jun of the second world. Lin Zhujian kept casting spells, fighting against a heavenly king. In an instant, the 6 great Luo Jingxian were actually fighting against the 9 immortal kings. It's absolutely terrifying. Moreover, hundreds of immortal lords participated in the battle group and took action from time to time. 6 people are under great pressure. Kill. 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 Lurang brought the grass and went crazy. A leaf was chopped out, an immortal died, and the blood essence was directly absorbed by the blade of grass. Suppression. Lin Zhujian's eyes were about to burst, and a series of almost divine spells made the group of immortals in front of him dizzy. Nima, it hurt so much. Wu Dade, on the other hand, was screaming. Facing the attacks of an immortal king, he kept blocking them and his body ached. Go to hell. This immortal heavenly lord was angry, and a Luo Jingxian actually blocked his attack, leaving him humiliated. At this moment, he used all his strength to strike down with a palm. Facing this scene, Wu Dade suddenly turned around and greeted him with his butt. Boom. On his butt, the golden law loomed, and it actually blocked this extremely terrifying Tianjun's attack. I'll rub it. He melted the laws of the holy way into his butt. That's not a trace of the law of the holy way, it seems to be a mess. He's developed, I'm going to nail his ass. In an instant, the surrounding immortals and others looked at Wu Dade's butt, their eyes turned red, and they started to kill like crazy. Those are all the laws of the holy way. Even if the immortal king comes, we have to fight for it. Wu Dade's ass instantly became a piece of cake. Nah, what a bunch of perverts. Wu Dade cursed, and he was so frightened that he was not afraid of being beaten violently, but that the words of these people were scary and perverted. He frantically resisted all kinds of attacks. His body, with mysterious techniques running, is absorbing all kinds of attacks. This is the method in that book. The more attacks you withstand, the stronger your body will become. But before, he was hesitant about the existence of the black dog, his butt has suffered the most pain, so it is the strongest. But now there are too many people, and Wu Dade simply feels that he cannot absorb the attacks of countless immortal kings. Damn it, if you want to kill me, I'll kill you. Wu Dade got angry and suddenly sat down on an immortal king. The other party resisted like crazy. However, he was slapped on the butt by Wu Dade and killed. The surrounding immortal kings were startled when they saw this. Damn it, the immortal lord is sitting dead. What kind of physical fitness is this? They were all so scared that they were killed. Compared to this battlefield. On the other side, Qing Chen is like a divine monk. He is sweeping the floor. Sweeping everything in the void. The attack is massive and powerful. However, they are no match for his broom. With the broom swept out, the wind of the avenue rose up in bursts, sweeping away countless attacks, causing the immortal king to bleed. How dare you use this broom to insult me? On the fourth day, Dongshi Tianjun of the fourth realm was so angry that he attacked frantically. However, before he could take action, Qing Chen suddenly arrived with a broom. Before he takes action, block him directly. You dare! Dongshi Tianjun was extremely angry. He stepped back repeatedly. However, the dust-cleaning broom is always with us. Ah! Dongshi Tianjun was furious. He was so full of cultivation that he could hardly fight out. He shouted angrily on the spot, his soul was burning. However, Qing Chen suddenly passed by with a broom, and a large web formed by fairy spiritual power fell down like a spider web. It enveloped Dongshi Tianjun. Dongshi Tianjun was shocked, and suddenly his figure disappeared from the scene. He crushed an escape charm. Kill him! Dongshi Tianjun was furious and roared. The scene was so hot. 6 Deluo golden immortals. Fighting against 9 immortal kings and hundreds of immortal kings. Kill like crazy. In the battle, Lu Rang and others did not have the upper hand. Puff. Dugu Yuking's face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He had just been slapped hard by Xuanhuan. Lu Rang was attacked by someone. Fortunately, the talisman given by Lin Zhuzhen worked and helped him escape, but the talisman was also destroyed. Facing the massive attacks, King Chen's face turned pale, and the broom in his hand trembled slightly. Long Xuanhuan was unparalleled in domineering power and had unparalleled dragon power. He was beating the 2 immortal kings, but his breathing became heavier and heavier. The talisman on Lin Zhuzhen's body was almost spread. The Tianqi pen in his hand was just covered with cinnabar, and he hurriedly drew a line. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Wu Dade's body was covered in scars and scabs. This is a real ordeal. The test of life and death. Forever. Between life and death, Dugu Yuking suddenly shouted. He unleashed all his power. A little bit, like a divine sword piercing the dark night. A horizontal stroke, like a meteor streaking across the sky. A vertical stroke is like a sword of chaos opening the sky. One hook, like the fission of the Big Dipper. The word forever appeared instantly. Every stroke seems to contain an immortal avenue. Every stroke seems to carry the eternity of heaven and earth. One word is done. The word Yang shines. At this moment, it was like a set of terrifying swordsmanship, cutting through the sky and destroying everything. Dugu Yuking, prove immortality. He has become the immortal lord of swordsmanship. The Tao of swordsmanship has proven to be immortal. At this moment, tens of millions of troops feel a terrible deprivation. The immortal spiritual energy is plundered, and the Dao is attracted. The walls of the third heaven were broken due to this movement, and the immortal spiritual energy of the first realm contained in them poured upwards, and was all absorbed by Dugu Yuking. Dugu Yuking holds the phoenix sky pen in one hand, standing in the void, like a sword master. In heaven and on earth, this is the only one. At this moment, thousands of people respected his swordsmanship, and his power eclipsed many heavenly kings, hundreds of immortal kings, etc. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 221. The terrifying Kendo aura spread across Chen Tianyu. Unparalleled. Dugu Yuking's whole person was filled with a sharp aura, like a newly born divine sword, unparalleled in the world. His. At this moment, the Heavenly Lord, the Immortal Lord, etc., and even the tens of millions of troops. All are in disgrace. This kind of sword intent, I understand, he is the true sword type mentioned by the King of Swordsmen. A heavenly king spoke in a daze. This kind of sword power made everyone couldn't help but think of the Wuji Sword King. At this moment, they were almost immediately sure. If the true sword species is really in the lower realm, then, it must be this terrifying young man in front of him. It's incredible, this man's swordsmanship makes me feel like I'm facing the master. It's so scary. Is this really just the way to immortality? Why do I feel that ordinary immortal kings, or even heavenly kings, are no match for him at all? The immortality that contains the laws of the Holy Way, can be said to be a true immortal. Even if the saint descends, it will not have much impact. Everyone was shocked. Xuanhuan Tianjun, Ku Dao Tianjun, etc. all looked extremely ugly at this moment. They didn't expect that their joint attack would finally achieve Dugu Yuking's path to immortality. This is very scary. This guy is invincible. Xuanhuan murmured and spoke. This son must not be tolerated, otherwise it will be difficult to check and balance him in the future. Ku Dao looked gloomy and said, how about asking the existence in the Dark Saint Waterfall to take action? They have already moved to ask the Forbidden Land to take action. Because, the moment Dugu Yuking attained enlightenment. They get it? Even if they are heavenly lords, they cannot be each other's opponents. It is very possible that he has obtained a small part of the law of the Holy Way, and the two of us have only obtained a trace. Maybe, this is the only way. Xuanhuan was also shaken. If I wipe it, you will become enlightened. Lu Rang looked at Dugu Yuking with a look of envy. He immediately turned around and looked at the group of immortal monarchs, heavenly monarchs, etc., and said, come again. He took the initiative to charge. Kill. Long Zixuan also killed with a bang. At this moment, his fist power was so powerful that he directly swept away several heavenly kings. Lin Zhuzhan is waiting for another charge. However, the Heavenly Lord, Immortal Lord, and others on the opposite side were all a little wary at this moment, and remained motionless, keeping their eyes on Dugu Yuking. They all felt that Dugu Yuking was too dangerous. However, Dugu Yuking smiled at this moment and said, now, you belong to my junior brother and the others. I'm invincible, you can do whatever you want. After saying that, he turned around and came to Zhang Li's side. The two of them looked at the field leisurely. Seeing this, the heavenly lords, immortal lords, etc. from the three heavens were surprised and angry. Damn it, are you treating us as a stepping stone to enlightenment? Dongshi Tianjun was extremely angry. As a Tianjun, who dares to disrespect him? Now it is being used as a whetstone. Kill them. This is too much. Must be killed. Countless heavenly kings, immortal kings, etc. are all going crazy. Go all out and don't give them any chance to break through. Dongshi Tianjun shouted angrily, if you want to use us as a stepping stone, there is no way. He led dozens of immortal kings to attack Qing Chen. However, Qing Chen smiled slightly at this moment and said, I'm sorry, you all, can only be my stepping stones. He suddenly saluted and said, thank you. Then, he suddenly waved his hand gently. No broom was used. In an instant, an otherworldly aura enveloped his whole body. There are thousands of Buddha lights in him. At this moment, thousands of roars. Another immortal. Clear dust and realize immortality. He was like a true Buddha in the sky, floating and holy, and the Buddha's light shone down casually. Dongshi Tianjun and dozens of immortal monarchs were suddenly stunned at this moment. Under the Buddha's light, some kind of wonderful scriptures were ringing in their minds. The body is like a Bodhi tree, and the mind is like a mirror. Always brush it diligently to prevent it from causing dust. Qing Chen chanted slightly. At this moment, these heavenly kings, immortal kings, etc., who were enveloped by his Buddha light suddenly looked at him, with extremely pious expressions on their faces. Be converted? No. The other immortal kings were all horrified. Stay away from his Buddha light. That Buddha light can transform people into his followers. Monk, monk. Run, run. The surrounding immortal lords, heavenly lords, etc. all retreated very quickly. Degree transformation, this method is too evil. The clear dust floats and falls. His face was so indifferent, and he was holding a broom in his hand, just like the most ordinary sweeping monk in the temple. But now he is an immortal. He stood next to Dugu Yuking and Zhang Li and said, "You belong to my junior brother and his friends. I'm invincible too, you can do whatever you want." He smiled. Hearing this, everyone at the scene wanted to vomit blood. Another I am invincible existence. Damn it, I can't bear it anymore. How many immortals are we going to force out? Jinhui Tianjun, who came from the second world, was in a state of panic at this moment. Tianjun and others present were all shocked. If this continues, how will they play? Just when Dugu Yuking became immortal, they were already under tremendous pressure. Now, the second terrifying monk has also achieved immortality, and can he also save powerful men of the same level? No need to fight at all. Now you are my stepping stone. At this time, Lu Rang screamed wildly and slashed at the powerful men in the sky with his blades. He couldn't help it. Covering all heavenly kings, immortals, and even millions of armies. Walk. Do not fight. Retreat. Seeing this scene, those immortal lord-level experts all changed their expressions and turned around to leave. They are not willing to fight at all, their mentality has collapsed. Totally broken. They are using them to practice. Everyone who enters my chessboard is my son. At this time, Zhang Li spoke calmly. A million miles of void chessboard suddenly appeared. Interlaced black and white, boundless vertical and horizontal, and endless void are all his chessboard. In an instant, tens of millions of troops, the heavenly lord, and the immortal lord were all trapped. There is no way to escape. Ha ha ha, stepping stones, here I come. Lu Rang laughed. Every leaf of his pot of grass turned into tens of thousands of feet long, like a boundless divine sword. A leaf was chopped off. All the more than 300,000 troops were killed and their blood was absorbed. A sword intent fell. More than 50 immortal lords, their heads fell to the ground. At this moment, this pot of grass is bathing in fairy blood. The leaves are getting more and more terrifying. Harvesting life like crazy. Ah! Millions of people were swept away by a leaf, and they all exploded into a bloody mist. No. Dozens of immortals tried to resist, but they were all pierced through. In an instant, the tens of millions of troops were almost slaughtered. A pot of grass almost pierced the sky, pierced the universe, and beheaded all the immortal kings. Above the blades of grass, an immortal aura is constantly exuding. No. The final cut? The 9 heavenly kings all let out miserable cries. This kill will destroy Tianjun. Bang 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 bang. A leaf was cut off, and the blood of the heavenly lord splashed into the void. Total destruction. After drinking the immortal blood, this grass suddenly burst out with a terrifying aura. The Tao of the 10,000 realms harmonizes with it. The people tremble. The killing intent is shocking. A blade of grass proves immortality. Tens of millions of troops, hundreds of immortals, and 9 heavenly kings, have become the stepping stones for its promotion to immortality. At this moment, there is nothingness in the void, only one grass, and it is invincible in the sky and on earth. No. At this moment, a scream was heard, and in the void, the remnant soul of King Xuanhuan was summoned by something quickly, disappeared, and disappeared into the third heaven. There is something extraordinary about him that has preserved a remnant of his soul. At this moment, that terrifying blade of grass and leaf suddenly slashed towards the entire third heaven. A piece of grass cuts an entire world.